You've almost certainly heard the quote, "The Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space." It sounds awe-inspiring. Is less than break time equals 1 second. Is greater than, it sounds like a line lifted straight out of a National Geographic documentary. But it's not true. Astronauts on the International Space Station have made it very clear. From low Earth orbit, the great is less than break time equals 1 second. Is greater than wall is much harder to spot than highways, airports, or major cities. It's narrow, it often follows the natural color of the terrain, and it tends to blend into the surrounding. Is less than break time equals 1 second is greater than landscape. And here's the fascinating thing. The true story of this wall is better than the myth. Because the Great Wall is not just about being visible from space, is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than. It is over 2,000 years of fear and ambition, of peasants and emperors, of nomads and soldiers, all written in stone, brick, and packed earth across the northern spine, of is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than China. In this first episode, we're gonna peel back the familiar postcard image and give you the big picture, what the Great Wall really is, just how massive it is. And is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than why ancient rulers believed building it was a price worth paying. First, a simple misconception to correct. The Great Wall is not one single continuous wall is less than break time, equals 1 second, is greater than from start to finish. It is a system, a complicated network of walls, trenches, signal towers, fortresses, and passes, built and rebuilt by different dynasties across more than 2 millennia. Is less than break time equals 1 second. Is greater than, when you look at pictures of the Great Wall near Beijing, the neat brick steps, the square watchtowers, the rolling green mountains, you are only seeing one face of that system. Is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than. Other places look entirely different. Low, crumbling earthen mounds in the desert, solitary stone lines across empty grassland, or ruined watchtowers collapsed into river valleys. Is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than. Some sections are high, sharp, and imposing. Some are barely taller than a person. Over time, people got used to calling it the Great Wall, as if it were a single entity. A giant is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than snake running across the map. But in reality, it's more like a forest of walls than a snake. A forest that grew in many different places at many different times, and was then connected, repaired, abandoned, is less than break time, equals 1 second, is greater than, or replaced. So just how big is this wall system? The honest answer is much bigger than most of us imagine, and far more complicated to measure. Is less than, break time equals 1 second, is greater than. When people try to package it into one number, you might hear AT. The Great Wall is about 21,000 kilometers long. That figure is what you get when you add up all the sections they've less than break time, equals 1 second, is greater than surveyed walls, trenches, and even natural features like rivers and mountain ridges intentionally used as part of the defense line. That is, if you add up all those defensive threads, U is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than get a number that exceeds half the Earth's circumference at the equator. Now, this doesn't mean you can throw in a backpack and walk continuously along 20,000 plus is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than kilometers of wall without stopping. Many sections are broken, buried, or have been weathered away by wind and rain until they are just faint earthen ridges. But if you piece together all those fragments, all is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than the wall lines built by various dynasties. You have one of the longest man-made defense systems in human history. Today, the Great Wall and its related structures run through or touch the territory of more than is less than break time. Equals 1 second is greater than a dozen provinces and autonomous regions of modern China. From the eastern coast, over mountains, through forests, across steppes and deserts, right up to the edge of the far, is less than break time, equals 1 second, is greater than west. But length is just one way to grasp the scale. Another way is time. The oldest sections associated with the idea of a long wall date back to around the 7th century BC, is less than break time, equals 1 second, is greater than during the spring and autumn warring states periods. The last major phases of construction and reinforcement took place in the 16th, 17th centuries AD under the Ming Dynasty. That means, for more than 2,000 years, generation is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than after generation of rulers, builders, and soldiers kept returning to the same basic idea. We need a barrier in the north. Is less than break time equals 1 second is greater than. So when you ask, why did they build the Great Wall? The simplest answer is self-defense. Northern China bordered the vast steppes and deserts, home to powerful nomadic peoples. The Xiongnu is less than break time equals 1 second, is greater than, and later, the Turkic tribes, the Mongols, and many others. Their greatest strength was mobility, fast horses, hit-and-run raids, and the ability to disappear is less than break time, equals 1 second, is greater than back into the grassland before any pursuing army could catch up. For agricultural dynasties used to fortresses, fields, and high walls, this style of guerrilla warfare was a nightmare, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. So the wall wasn't just stone or brick. It was a strategy. Slow down the horses, channel movement into specific passes, and give the defenders high ground for observation and is less than break time. 1 second is greater than counterattack. But defense is only part of the story. The Great Wall also helped the ancient state control its own people on this side, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than many sections of the wall functioned like long chains of border crossings. They were places to check travelers, record merchants, collect taxes on goods, keep registers, and block tax evaders, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than deserters or smugglers. You can picture the Great Wall as part fortress, part traffic checkpoint, and part massive, extended toll booth system across the map, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. For the empires behind it, the wall was a way of drawing a line on the ground and saying, inside this line is us. Outside this line is them, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. It was a story about identity, not just a story about security. Of course, no wall can stop every invasion. History's full of times when nomadic armies breached the passes, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than bribed the commanding generals, or simply went around a less defended section. But that doesn't mean the wall was useless. It could still slow down the advance, buy time, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than, and force the attacker to show their hand at more predictable points. In later episodes, we will see how each dynasty used and sometimes neglected the Great Wall in their is less than break time. 1 second is greater than military planning. But for now, remember this. The Great Wall has never just been a shield. It was also a fence, a gate, and a boundary is less than break time. 1 second is greater than for an entire civilization. Now, let's return to the famous myth we started with. The Great Wall is the only man-made structure visible from space, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. Where did that quote come from? It appeared in popular science books and magazines long before humans actually went into space. It was repeated so often that people is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. Took it as scientific fact. But when astronauts actually looked down with their own eyes, the picture was completely different. Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. From low Earth orbit, you can see cities because they are wide and high contrast. You can make out airports, highways, and even large bridges if the light is right, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than the Great Wall is long, yes, but it is very narrow, and its color is often close to the color of the stone and earth around it. It does not stand out like a glowing neon line on the ground, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. In interviews, many astronauts have been quite blunt that seeing the Great Wall with the naked eye from orbit is very difficult and requires the right conditions, angle, and lighting. Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. So if the myth isn't true, why is it still so beloved? Perhaps because it feels right. People want a simple statement to affirm. This structure is colossal, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. It is special, it is our pride. Myths like this aren't just about facts. They are about pride, about identity, about how a nation wants to see itself as less than break time. 1 second is greater than in the eyes of the world. In that sense, the visible from space myth is just a new layer of meaning added onto stones and rammed earth that have been there for ages. Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. After all the numbers and fact checking, we are left with a bigger question. Can a wall truly protect a civilization? Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. The Great Wall could slow down horses, force raids to funnel through guarded passes, and give generals more time to react. Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. But it couldn't stop corruption in the imperial court, the mistaken decisions of rulers, economic decline, or betrayal from within. Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. There were periods when the wall still stood, while the capital was rotting from the inside. There were times when the wall was neglected, under-garrisoned, or simply bypassed by the enemy. Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. In every case, that line of stone and earth could slow down change, but it couldn't erase history. That is the question we will carry throughout this series. Is the great is less than break time? 1 second is greater than wall a symbol of safety and unity, or a long, beautiful scar reminding us that no wall can stop time forever? Is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. To answer that, we need to go back to the beginning. In the next episode, we will return to a time before there was a unified China, before there was a name like Great Wall. Only is less than break time. 1 second is greater than warring feudal states, each building their own crude earthen walls out of mutual fear. Episode 2, from the earthen walls of the warring states to the first long wall of the Qin dynasty, is less than break time. 1 second is greater than. This episode was just the overview. Now,
Tap to
let's
watch the
return
next episode
to the first
and
shovelfuls of
subscribe
dirt.
for more epic stories of the Great Wall and other Titanic constructions.